Hi, I'm Jeff Sidek, designer of Battlestations DIRTSIDE.
I'm Joey Vigor. I'm the producer of DIRTSIDE. So this video is all about personal movement and terrain. So in DIRTSIDE, pretty much all of the hero characters get 2 spaces of movement for their move action. So you have your regular action, you have your move action, and you can spend your regular standard action as another move action. So theoretically, you could just move 4 spaces if you wanted.
Right.
And some characters have extra movement actions, and some characters have extra movement spaces, but we won't get into all that. Now, how does terrain affect that exactly?
So it costs, you pay the movement cost to enter the terrain, the space that you're entering. So regardless of what you're in, if you're moving into just about any space, a building space, pavement space, a dirt space, it's going to cost you 1 space of movement to enter it. But if you're entering a snow space or a desert space or a slag space, or like a crater space, then that is going to cost you 2 spaces of movement, which is pretty much your whole move.
Now how does water work? Because water's, unlike other games, in DIRTSIDE you can pretty much move around the board. I mean, even if there's a building there, you can just, pretty much assume that all the doors are going to be open, right. And you can just move through them. But there are different rules, and obviously, as we mentioned in the personal combat video, buildings block line of sight. But pretty much everything is unlocked. You can go into things.
The exception being if somebody's got a cannon installation, then that would be locked, and you'd have to hack it before you
or break the door. And that's the same thing with pretty much any installation other than research stations and hospitals.
Yeah. But you asked about water. Water, it takes your standard action to enter water unless you're aquatic. If you have the aquatic special ability, which Tentax, Whaloids, and
Fish people.
Fish people.
I don't know. Okay, so if I want to go into water, it costs an action.
It costs your action, and you don't get your move action.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
But pretty much like any other space though on the board, when you move, say through water or through honestly any space, there's always a minimum move value of 1, right? So whether you're going, suppose you're in water and you're going into water, and you're carrying a barrel. And for whatever reason you're bogged down or you're wounded or whatever it is, it's always going to be 1. Now with water, of course, it also, like you said, it also costs your standard action. Yeah. But any other space, say I'm going from a building into the trees, right, or from the forest into a dirt space or the snow. No matter what's happening with me, I can always move.
You can always move 1 space.
Yeah. Let me see what else we have here. Snow and sand cost 2 points of movement to enter. Vehicles. How do vehicles work?
Well, we're gonna get into vehicles, I think, in a driving video later.
Well, I'm just reading your notes right here, my friend.
But the first thing I want to talk about is jetpacks. You can use a jetpack and make a piloting skill check of an 8 to add 1 space of movement, and that space can push you forward into any terrain as if it were just blank because you're flying over it. With the exception being that if you jet into forest space, you take a die of damage because
the trees are flapping you in the face.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, I noticed you mentioned hovering above the trees. Maybe we should talk about height rules in a different video too.
In a different video, but yeah, you can jet instead of forward. You can jet up. But we'll get into altitude in a different video. And also, I also like to talk about vehicle movement. Let's do that one next.
Yeah, we'll talk about vehicles in the next video too. Because one thing I want to clarify is that you can never move diagonal in this game unless you have
a bike.